Are you kidding me? That's what?
Yeah, every so often it happens that Ryan is right.
100% right. Not even a little bit right.
Tucker Pullman, 2 points last game.
No kidding. My man.
Hey, neither does me running shirtless, but that turned out very well.
Welcome to the PP1 podcast.
Okay. Dang it, got the buttons wrong. That's the one I was looking for.
That's a throw. I haven't heard those ones for a while.
Okay. That was the button I was looking for, is this one. Yeah, I'll remember for next week. That's fine.
That's what do we have we established what that's actually called?
Power up.
Power up? Is it the super? Is it get big?
Yeah. Tyler Myers broke the D. What? Get big. Never mind. Did I just say? Yeah, I meant split the D. Right. That's what I meant to say.
I don't know what that means.
It's the same thing. Oh. Welcome to the Power Play 1 podcast. Some call it PP1. It's the most... What? Is that one of those iron thingies?
Yeah.
That's
well,
awesome.
I made it.
Can you flip it around for...
Well, if you flip it around, it says $199 on
it. Well, you showed it to me as $199.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. So that's awesome. I love it. Welcome to the PP1 podcast. It's on the Hockey Podcast Network, part of a menagerie of hockey podcasts all over this great continent. If you like the Canucks, we got you covered. If you like the Leafs, I'm sure there's one out there. There's probably 6 of them. Columbus,
probably
Blue
a lot
Jackets,
more than that.
There's probably, I think, 7 I counted. So they're covered. They're covered.
Leaf podcast per 60.
Yeah, exactly. They got the market. They got the market cornered. But for us, we talk about the Canucks and other things like, Kelowna and being awesome and living in the greatest town ever.
It looks like a ski resort out there right now.
It feels every day the last couple days as you're driving up and you're like, am I a big white right now?
Yeah, we got a foot in the backyard easy.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you're not on a snow road. That sucks.
What does that mean? So the plow...
So it's like...
Would that be good to be on a snow route?
Pardon me?
Wouldn't that be good to be on a snow route?
It's good and bad. Like you kind of are one of the first ones that get plowed, but it really sucks when they do. Yeah. Hey, whoa, what is it? Okay. There we go. Yeah. But then like all the snow goes in your driveway and it sucks, and you get like 3 feet high of like this mound of snow.
Okay, and so it's you just want to get this really clear. Just want to be crystal clear on this.
Yeah. So
you live on a road that they plow your streets.
Yeah.
And that's the complaint?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know me. I complain about like the finer things.
So all you have to do is just shovel the snowplow debris away from your road, your driveway. Is that?
Well, on the bad days, yeah.
Okay.
When you've already shoveled everything else, and then you still have to do second shovel, it's called. The city apparently is like, here's how to avoid second shovel. Like,
and you would prefer just
not being able to get out of your driveway,
not having your driveway plowed at all, or your snow plowed at all.
Yeah, I suppose that does sound petty. I suppose the way when you say it like that, it makes me seem like a jerk.
Yeah,
that's fair. it's probably
sounds like Crawford Estate problems.
Yeah, like, wow, it's so, yeah, but you have like 2 acres and a massive house. Like, but yeah, I guess I do. Like, yeah, your driveway, you could have a full hockey game of road hockey. That's probably also true.
Can't you just have the home staff like take care of your front driveway?
I could do that.
Yeah,
I could do that. It is what it is. So yeah, there's a lot of snow out here. It's a problem. But it's okay. I mean, how is it? You got a lot of snow in the backyard, but how is like your little area, your complex snowed in?
It got plowed twice on like the big snow day a couple days ago.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
So it's part of like an HOA,
right?
So we pay for snow removal.
That's right. Yeah.
It's with like a private company, and because there's snow removal, there's like everyone and their dog is arguing with each other on how much snow removal costs, and
it's stupid.
And people shoveling there's snow from their driveways into the road and fights and arguments about it. Steve is actually he got into a big one with a guy last year, real petty dude. Pretty funny stuff.
I get
notified if I remove myself from the group.
Oh, you have to.
Oh yeah.
I
told everybody Steve is my proxy when it comes to meetings.
There you go. Yeah, I don't go to those.
Yeah.
You go to the very first one when there's like 6 people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you realize like this sucked to begin with. I'm never going back. Like, what's the point? Honestly, I've been to condo ones, and it's the best is when you're there for you're there long enough, but the complex or the building's been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There's like secret meetings, and there's all this stuff like
it's like a Strata Illuminati. It's 120 minutes. I won't get back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gone forever.
Exactly. So if you guys want to chat with us, it's the intermission of a Canucks and Coyotes game right now. Chat's open on Facebook, on YouTube. I'm not sure if it works on Twitter or not. It does for the football show, but that's a whole other thing.
That should be
We're going to talk about the Canucks. We're going to talk about how awesome they were on their road trip, the All-Star game. We're going to talk about points or dollars per point, basically. Cap friendly is a neat little thing. I did ask a question this week to Chris Gear, and my really cool, clever idea was shot down. Thankfully, I had closure on that idea because I needed to know if my craziness was possible. And we're just going to patiently wait. I don't know, Ted, like the next 25 minutes, we should know if we shut down the podcast early.
Yeah. If we start planning our trip to Vancouver, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my wife is watching, so that's not good.
Aw.
Okay. We got to keep it to what we were going to say and not what we're about to say.
We were just going to start talking about the Christines.
Yeah. I mean, weren't we going to do that segment?
I think, yeah, you, me, and Christine's.
Yeah. Like, was it things that annoyed us about it, or was it just things they do?
I'm sure it was things that annoyed them about us.
Oh, okay. That makes sense too. That's a show in itself.
Yeah.
My goodness. Hey, the Maple Leafs won. Good for them. So yeah, like I said, you guys can comment along on Facebook and YouTube. It's a lot of fun over there. I mean, I kind of just don't want to talk, Ted, because I do want to know if we won a butt ton of money tonight, because that would be way more fun. We could do a podcast from wherever we want if we win tonight.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be you make it sound like, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun. You've also added to your door wall. You've now officially
I mean, right now it's just my stool.
It's the evolution of that room.
It's gonna look better. It's gonna take time.
I know, but
I'm waiting for the weekend.
We're seeing that slow burn. It's coming. I had to decide to do the podcast upstairs this week. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So I decided to decorate. We've got the Canuck moose, and it's so old that it's still the old color scheme. So it's Christmas moose, and then we've got the bear that talks and stuff, and we're not going to turn him on because it's creepier than Furby. But we are going to talk about the Vancouver Canucks. So let's get into okay. You forgot to remind me, and I just remembered. So yesterday, we're at the rink, and we're at the rink there, and there's like lacrosse camp or like tryouts for Kelowna minor lacrosse. Anyway. So our good friend Matt, with his daughter, just started speed skating. So they're going to visit Andrew, who works with Matt, and go check out the lacrosse thing going on.
Have you ever seen Andrew play before?
Yeah, I watched him in was it the BC final or something like a couple of years ago? Yeah, so dude's a beast.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we go over there. They walk over, and I'm just going by, and I'm watching. And this is at Elemental P Center, formerly known as CNC, and because they rebranded. So what is it? Field 1, doesn't matter. So the nets are like
it's the XYZ field.
XYZ, yeah, XYZ field. Well played. So they're doing like this. It's almost like a Red Rover kind of thing, like where you're having to, or like octopus tag or whatever. So you're trying to like get people running back and forth, and they've all got helmets on and gear. So it's like pretty brutal. And they're all like anywhere ages from probably 5 to 10, maybe at tops. So you're seeing these kids run back and forth, and it's like bulldozer after bulldozer. And they're like trying to go around like the coaches to get to the other side. And you know how the nets are like inverted into the or it's like flat against the board, so like you can like run into the net and be away from the boards. Well, this one kid almost just gets like absolutely clotheslined by the net, like the post and the wall of the net. I'm just like, well, someone's gonna get hurt here. So that didn't happen. Coach calls all the kids over to like the other corner, and there's like this boy and this girl. I would say they're probably like 6 and 7 approximately. And this boy, and again, all wearing like cages and everything, and he just keeps like throwing haymakers at this girl. Like, and then like
5-year-old, yeah.
Like I mean, this kid, like I said, he was probably like 6 and she might have been 5, or like in that age. He looked maybe a little bit older than her, but she looked like she could probably hold her own as well. Anyway, he's throwing like legit haymakers at her helmet, and I'm just like, okay. And then he'd throw in like a kick stomp like to her leg, and I'm just like, I'm like infuriated watching this, because I'm not gonna just be like, dude, get your kid figured out. And so she'd throw like a few punches back, or like try to like, she's like, piss off. Like, I'm trying to listen and stop bothering me. And he just keeps throwing these haymakers, like legit punches. So eventually I had to get back to the rink. I'm like, I hope that girl turned around and absolutely clocked this kid.
Yeah.
It would have put him in his place. And I'm just thinking, like, lacrosse, like the moral of the story, lacrosse is brutal. Like, we look at hockey and everybody like talks about the goons in hockey and all this. Lacrosse guys are out there, guys and girls, like they're out there to hurt. Like, it just happens to be a sport going on also.
It's a sport that you are allowed to hurt.
It's encouraged.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough sport, man. I don't know. Yeah,
it's fun to play in school. It's kind of a lame sport, though. I mean, you know. It is.
I think that can just be your opinion.
I'm going to keep it as my opinion. Andrew, if you ever need to punch me, hey man, I'll voice my opinion, and I'm more than happy to get the look of death from any lacrosse player. But I mean, really,
shout out Chris Phillips.
Yeah, he don't need to shout him out. He shouts himself. he'll make his name known. But yeah, shout out Chris. So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. And then one more thing on the snow. So pulling into the rink yesterday, and all the buses are just leaving the parking lot there, and I see the one in the butt end of this bus like just slides out as it's pulling out. I'm thinking Tokyo Drift with like city buses and snow would be so much more fun. I'm just thinking in my head, like, what kind of crazy car sports could we get up to? And
they have like those bus races. Have you seen those? Like they have like full on bus races on like the dirt track where you have to like go through a figure 8 in the middle.
Oh, okay, yeah, like more of the okay, like the motocrossy kind of shows and all that.
No, like it's just a bus race. Like you show up, it's like some town in Kentucky or something like that. I'll look it up for you.
I'm pretty okay. I think I know that, but I'm talking like drifting. We're talking about.
Yeah, well, they drive on a dirt track. I'm sure they're pretty drifty. No, they're trying to win a race, like complete as many laps as you can, kind of deal.
I feel like the one I've seen, they're trying to hurt each other. Maybe it's more of a demolition derby. I've one. The one.
That's maybe the stuff the one I was watching was a serious bus race. Bus race? No, I can't even say.
Bus races.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll look it up for you.
Bus races. So, okay. School bus racing. This is a thing.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to have to check that out. That seems super awesome.
Now that I know you're so into bus racing, yeah, I'm glad I told you.
This might be the new sport that if I'll forget NASCAR, forget a $1 billion industry. I'm going to go for down in Kentucky, Arkansas, and watch some bus racing. Who's the sponsor? Oh, it's Skull. Skull and popcorn. Pretty awesome. Our Vancouver Canucks. Let's get into this. Let's talk about some hockey. That road trip last week was legit. They go 5-1-1, and they actually didn't dominate the whole thing. Like, they tailed off at the very end. You're like,
well, I mean, it's a 7-game road trip, yeah.
But I mean, like the Columbus game, they could have won that game. St. Louis, not so much, but like they actually went in, and there was actually room for improvement on a 5-1-1 road trip. And Petey gets first star of the week. Canucks are absolutely owning it. They get 6 guys going to the All-Star game, and yet we're looking like, yeah, or I am. You know,
Yeah.
we could improve some things. Like they were on an absolute bender last week. This is where you would like agree or say something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It was just, it looked like they could have gone. I don't know. I felt to me like they had a chance to win every single one of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
they could have gone 7-0.
There's a good chance. I mean, the only one was that St. Louis game, and I think they probably just weren't prepared for that game. They probably
even in
show
that
up.
St. Louis, it's not like St. Louis looked that good, right? I mean,
No.
You know, it was a fun road trip. I think that road trip has really like changed the narrative for where people think this team is going now. When you accumulate that many points in such a short period of time, the way that they did, especially rolling through, New Jersey, New York,
Pittsburgh.
Right?
Yeah, they played some hard games. They played some hard games.
Was crucial, right? Like we had just come out of like a month or so ago where it was sort of like 500 hockey, and we were kind of feeling the after effects of such a hot start, and people were like not down, but they were like, oh, okay, like
PDO's back to normal.
We're gonna run this hot start into the playoffs, and that's great. And now we're like, a lot of lines back together, an absolutely like banger dominant third line that looks more like a second line at this point. Like
goaltending is
now people are goaltending's elite. Defense for the first time, and we talked about it last time when James was on the show. It looks like there's actual depth there, right? Like it wasn't too long ago we were talking about Noah Juleson looking like maybe he wasn't going to be a guy that could sit in this roster. Again, we talked about this last week, and now he looks like, I mean, he's there, right? He's a guy that can be used at all points. We talked about rest and load management last week. Like we're now thinking about like, what can we do to augment this team to make a run in the playoffs, right? And I know that you're having a hard time. Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious factor is removing a Kuzmenko from the equation, because I think there's probably, in a different system and a team that maybe needs some sort of a cost control player, he might fit better on somebody's roster, right? I mean, if we can somehow move him for a 2C or something like that, or a defensively responsible scoring winger, like I think that would be like a pretty prudent move, right? And this goes back to you and I talking at the start of the season, and even before that, like, if you can't trade Brock, last year, why are you re-upping Kuzmenko? Why not trade Kuzmenko, right? Now, I mean, I think if they were to look back at this and, knowing still the same coach, still the same organization, still the same player coming back, and like, I think maybe if you could have identified a little bit earlier that he wasn't going to fit in this system, imagine what we could have offloaded him for in the midst of an almost 40-goal season.
I think
it's different last year, like knowing that we're stuck with Brock, right? Like that was the feeling. Now everybody is loving. We're all loving his season that he's having right now.
It's like the flip narrative of like both players have basically flipped.
They flipped now. All they've done now though is like decrease Kuzmenko's value by him having a poor season and then them paying him as well, right? It doesn't mean that he's not worth anything. Like obviously we can move a salary like that and maybe get ourselves.
There's value there, and maybe it's just not a fit on this team. Like if you put him on, who would it be? I mean, would he fit on a team like Calgary? Would he fit on it? Like we're watching Arizona right now. Like, wouldn't you? And that's a bad example, but like a team that isn't necessarily contending for a playoff run, but he has a similar role, but the pressure isn't as hot. You know what I mean? Like you could be on a team there, maybe they're trying to make the playoffs, but there's a good chance they may not make it, but he's still going to put up points. Like he's still going to go out and put up, maybe better points, because maybe he's having to be relied upon, and maybe he gets to be the guy that, a few people are hitching their wagon to. And right now we're just like, hey man, like everybody else is stepping up. How come you aren't?
Yeah. And I think I was listening to, I think it's Canucks talk. It was Dranch that said like, Kuzi's not looked at as a phenomenal skater, right? I mean, he's a get to point A, point B, sort of like Brock, right? But
sure, he does all of his damage once he's there.
Yeah, and he seems to be like Brock spent some time, right, having to service himself as like a winger that can handle himself defensively.
Yeah,
and Kuzmenko hasn't had that time, and he is a bit younger, right? Not that he's like a young player, but younger, especially when it comes to time and minutes in this league.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he said something like along the lines of like, is it any coincidence that, you know, the poorest skater speed wise is the guy that's struggling in the system the most, right? Like he just might not be right for this system and what it is they want to do to attack. He's still got really solid numbers. Like still really good shooting numbers, puck control. He could easily. He's just maybe not right for this system, which kind of sucks. I feel like as a coach, you should be able to find a way to get, you know, the most out of a player and not have a player become poor or irrelevant because you're entering a new system, right? Like it kind of sucks, but
I mean, you look at some of the best players in the league, and they've had
Calgary though. Yeah, he could be vacant in Calgary to answer your question.
Okay, you know what I mean? Like you look at some of these teams, and you know players that didn't fit, and all of a sudden they're a fit. Like look at Vegas, right? Like the collection of misfits.
All those players didn't fit. Look at what was like. Come on, man, Carlson. Like how on earth?
Yeah,
he's like one of the best defensive forwards in the entire NHL. How on earth did a guy like that get let go? He scored 40 some odd goals in his first year in Vegas. Why was a 40 goal scorer exposed? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's insanity.
It's just, I think you could add Kuzmenko. I mean, and he's the guy we're talking about. He's the topic du jour. He's, you know, this year's JT Miller, this year's Brock Besser, Myers, whatever you want to call him. He's just that guy this year. And, you know, he kind of is that guy because, well, he almost scored 40 goals as soon as he showed up. And I mean, we like guys that contribute. And right now he's like, of all the guys, which is so crazy that, you know, he goes on this absolute bender for one season. And now we're thinking like, well, you know, we had high hopes for this guy. We had, you know, for sure, second line, this, that, and the other. And now you have to fit him in because you're like, well, you can't put a player like that on the fourth line. He doesn't make sense on the third line either. Mm-hmm. You know, when you call up a guy, you don't bring up like the leading scorer on your team and put him on the fourth line. Like you don't bore Horvat him, right? You know, you don't start him at the back and work him up. This is an NHL 13 where you earn your way up the roster. Like if he's a goal scorer, you put him with goal scorers. You put him with guys that, you know, the puck's going to eventually go in the net with. And it's not working this year. And, you know, I think James brought up a good point last year. I think we were talking about it, like how it's like that unique window now where maybe the NHL has shifted and like you don't have a 3 to 4 year window. Maybe it's just like this year you have an opportunity to win the Stanley Cup. Next year, you're not going to because there's going to be a bunch of people that won't be here. The contracts are going to look differently. I mean, sometimes like you just catch lightning in a bottle and you have to run with it because eventually it's just going to dissipate.
Yeah, I want them to do something. I want them to make a trade. I want them to go try to acquire some help. I want them to be smart about it. Mm-hmm. Like, and
you can help the other side out too. You can help Kuzmenko out too. Like, hey man, sure. Like it doesn't work here, but we want you to succeed, and this is where we want to send you.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I agree with all of that. I think what a lot of people are afraid of. I mean, we heard the rumors. The rumors earlier, the Pittsburgh rumors, right? And how the other players going the other way was like, you know, Lekaramaki, Lekaramaki and Villander. Yeah. And it's like back-to-back first-round picks, right? Like,
and not just first-round picks, decent prospects.
Yeah, and so, you know, I want to push back on that a little bit, right? Because was not the reason to go after and select a guy like Willander. Partly due in part by the fact that like a guy like Zach Benson was available, who's always sort of cut his teeth in the NHL, showing that he has value. What was the main reason for picking a guy like Willander? It was because he's a right shot defenseman, and right shot defensemen always carry more value, right? Whether he plays for us in 3 years or not. Yeah, his value as a right shot defender is like, 10 times more valuable than a right shot defenseman. Right? Whether he plays for us in 3 years or not, his value as a right shot defender is like 10 times more valuable than a right shot defenseman. Right? Whether he plays for us in 3 years or not, his value as a right shot defender is like
because it's one category that is so narrow.
You got to have a bunch
they
of
don't
them,
grow on trees.
just hoping
That's the
that
only
some of them pan out. Yeah, 100%. You've like hit the nail on the head, right? So if you've acquired Tom Willander as an asset, right, hoping that one day he plays in your franchise and he's a possible stud to skate next to a Philip Hronek, that doesn't seem like all that different from Hronek, if we're being completely honest, right? He's probably a better skater.
Sure.
But like, would it be that terrible to use that asset to go and get yourself like a really quality player? I would be way more inclined to trade my first overall draft pick or first round draft pick. Like way more inclined, because that's going to be an end of the, what that'll be like in the 20s somewhere. You know,
the high 20s.
Assuming they don't shit the bed.
Yeah.
Right.
No, realistically, it's going to be high 20s, right?
Yeah.
Like
and people are.
Yeah, I think.
And people are like, you know, they're not happy about the fact that like both Willander and Lekkerimäki's name is being like now dropped. Like, I would be okay I would be fine with trading one of those guys in like a first or something like that if we're getting a really good player back, right? Especially if it's like a true rental, right? If it's a chance to get somebody that can be a part of your franchise to win a championship, to add another bullet to the chamber, right? Like that's gonna help increase your odds of winning, right? Like I think we already have a good chance as it is. Like why not help ourselves with that? I think you should be exploring not only that but depth options too, right? Like I know it's almost impossible, but like how amazing would it be to somehow end up with Chris Tanev on your roster and Elias Lindholm? Could you imagine Lindholm is like a 2C playing behind like Pettersson, and then you have that third line, and then you can use Puy Suter as a fourth line center if you really wanted to, and then he's also your center depth should anything go wrong.
Go well. Yeah, things don't go well. Like,
whatever.
We have to split the lotto line. Oh no. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I mean, we can never get a guy like that from Calgary. I'm sure that they would just not allow it to happen. And you probably have to do an overpay because it's within the division, right? But like that's the kind of stuff that like I would be okay with that. Like, and I always take it back to this, and I never forget that when Dallas won their Stanley Cup, right? It was due in large part to the trade that they made with Calgary to acquire Joe Nieuwendyk. And to get your hands on Joe Nieuwendyk, they gave up Jarome Iginla, a young Jarome Iginla.
And they knew what they were doing.
And do you think they were happy about giving up Jarome Iginla? Probably not, right? And they only had Nieuwendyk for a few years, but they won a cup. Like, is it not worth it to do that? Like, whatever, man. Like, okay, so I don't have, the league's MVP and maybe one of the top best 10 players for the decade on my roster for the next 10 years. But I have the Stanley Cup, so I don't really care.
It's the same. I mean, that's what it's all for. Every single sport. I mean, look at Toronto. Look at the Raptors when they got Kawhi, and then he left. It's like, so
who cares? Thank you, Kawhi Leonard, and your crazy ass laugh. Thank you, Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, thank you, Leonard. Thank you, Gasol.
Thank you, 5 bounces.
Thank you, 5 bounces, right? I mean, that was the Kevin Bieksa stanchion shot if there ever was one.
That was.
But they needed that. They needed a lucky break in addition to having a guy like Kawhi on their team to win an NBA championship.
Because all of a sudden overtime could have gone differently. Yep.
Yeah. If they don't have that player, if they don't make that trade, I mean, they probably wouldn't have been in contention anyways. But, I mean, that's it, right? I mean, that's the missing piece. Like, I still feel strongly that if this club had Manny Malhotra.
That's always a tough one.
It is. But if they had Manny Malhotra and Dan Hamhuis healthy for that final series, I feel like it would have increased our odds too. I'm not saying anything about like, oh, those guys are in, we win. But like it's all about putting yourself, it's like fantasy football. It's like putting yourself in the best possible position to win. And sitting on your laurels and keeping your roster that you have is fine. Yeah, but you should be looking to make improvements, whether it's from a depth standpoint or from just a key cog in contributing top 6. Yeah,
I mean, I think the closer we get with, and this is probably going to happen within the next month, like the Jake Gensel thing is likely. It's going to be a topic because it's possible, right? and it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. Well, let's look at it two ways. One, let's say the trade does happen, and we kind of know a few of the pieces that likely could move. We've seen a few of the, potential trade options or whatever. There was like the Kuzmenko and Podkolzin one. There was a Willander and Mackey one. I mean, there's some options. They don't feel good, but at the same time, let's say you go get Jake Guentzel and whoever that. I'm sure they're going to get a defenseman or a depth forward. And then you have an opportunity to have Jake Guentzel on the Vancouver Canucks going forward. Do you not think that's a good thing? Do you not think that gives you a little bit of a better chance even next year when, let's say you don't win this year, where you still have a pretty good, big enough core where you're like, hey, well, we didn't win, but these are the things we know we could do, and we could probably get close again next year. Like, those are the kind of players that you want on this team. Those are the finishers. Those are the guys. Like, he plays with Sidney Crosby. He's done pretty well with Sidney Crosby.
There's been lots of guys that play pretty well with Sidney Crosby. But
I know, but you get that option where you're going to be playing with talented guys where you're just one more guy that's going to be able to put the puck in the net, and it's going to become a little bit easier if we add you.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe Pittsburgh is okay with taking a Kuzmenko and back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's like a Kuzmenko and a Lekkerimäki and a pick.
For sure.
Or something like that, right? Like,
for sure.
I don't really want to move Willander, right? Because I think that's just a lotto chip that you got to try to cash in on if he converts one day.
That's your hardest sell, I think, right? On any team, if you've got one of your top prospects as a righty D, I mean, you better be sure. If you make that move, you better be sure.
Yeah.
Because you can't go backwards from that.
I mean, it's what was I can't remember his name. It's escaping me all of a sudden.
I mean, we have Petey, but he's a lefty.
The D man we just traded for from Pittsburgh.
Oh, I want to say Susie, but that's the wrong guy.
No. Right-handed guy.
I'm just Friedman. No.
Yeah. Like even getting your hands on Mark Friedman, like going out there and making a play for a Mark Friedman. Like why are they out there trying to acquire Mark Friedman, who has a total of 83 career NHL games, with 18 of them being played as a Vancouver Canuck? It's because he's a righty. Like, he's a righty who's shown that he can play at the professional level. Let's just take a chance on him. What if he pops?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Noah Juleson, same thing.
Not costing you much.
Yeah. And organizations hang on to guys like this for that reason, right? Like, look, right-handed defensemen are hard to find. Ones that are good are even more difficult to find, and ones that are elite are just like, you can't trade for players like that unless you trade Bo Horvat.
Once a decade.
Yeah. I mean, for us to end up with Hronek, like, if the move was move Bo Horvat and acquire Philip Hronek and Aatu Räty.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Beauvillier thing, like that ended up just being cleared roster space.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like Aatu Räty, $4.3 million in roster space, and Philip Hronek for Bo Horvat.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time without fail.
Is there a big enough button where I can push and say yes?
Yeah. How quickly can I push and say yes?
Yeah, it definitely makes it tough. Like I said, when you bring in a defenseman to that, because nobody wants to trade him. I mean, if it was going the other way, would you be trading, one of your prospect D guys? Probably not. But that's how it goes. You want to hear a funny stat?
Yeah.
In that road trip, the 7-game road trip, the Canucks only trailed for 53 seconds.
That's like, how did we lose 2 games?
Yeah, they trailed for 53 seconds.
How did we lose 2 games? I guess one of them was a regulation tie.
So the Columbus one went to a shootout. The Canucks were winning that game, and then it was a tie. But so
that blemished their record. What are they, 26 now? 26-0-1 when leading after 2?
Yeah. But, like, isn't that crazy? Like, if you forget the wins and losses and all that. Like, if you think about that for a second, over a 7-game tough road trip, they only trailed for 53 seconds.
Yeah. Was it not like Jamie Dodd was saying something about that line produced 30 points over that road trip?
Yeah, that's bonkers. That is so bonkers.
Yeah, it's a good team, Ryan, that's just like starting to look better. And I don't think the team is I know we just went on an absolute heater. I don't think the team is playing as good as it was at the start of the year. Like there's a bunch of categories that they're sitting sort of middle in the pack in, right? Like
I think they're working on stuff now. You know what I mean?
I think they are too, but I think like if they can start to creep those rankings back up into the top 10 again, top 5, like with them sort of working their game out and they're still winning in spite of all that. This could be a truly dangerous team.
Did we bring this up last week about the LA and St. Louis thing? Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I was just chatting with somebody. So when St. Louis won a couple years back, they were the worst team in the NHL, I think, on January 1st, right? Something like that.
Okay.
Pretty close. And then you look at LA, they just got in on the last day, I think, because of a shootout, right? They just made it in, but they were a good team. They were just on the cusp, and then they go on probably arguably the greatest run of all time in the playoffs when LA won. St. Louis, LA. Then you look at this Canucks team and you think, well, no one believes they're the best, but they're clearly, they're not bad. They're a pretty good team. So where do they fit? And again, we're talking about it because this is the reality that we're in. Like, where does the Canucks team fit in that mix?
Like that LA team knocked off presumably the number 1 team in the league in Vancouver at the time.
Oh, we got an update. We got an update, folks. We did not win, not even close. Okay.
We did not win the 50-50.
So there you go.
You still have to send me $25 though, sorry.
I was really hoping you could get. Hopefully my wife's not watching at this point.
Yeah, you're right. Nobody expected that team to win. I think people were just starting to get into like really heavy into puck possession numbers. And that was like, they were the first like puck possession king team, right? Like that was the big, heavy physical team. It's not that team. It's built differently than that team is, right? I think they have the elite defender, right? That LA had. I think they have, a high-end defensive power center that LA had in Anze Kopitar, right? There's definitely a bunch of pieces on this roster that can do similar things. And then the goaltending, right? Jonathan Quick was just like...
You know what? We have a very similar thing. So it's like 2 of these things. So we have the defenseman, right? We've got that elite defenseman, the game changer.
Yeah.
But we also have, now he's not the same person, but we have the guy that does the spins like Drew Doughty did, but he's just a forward and his name's Connor Garland. So we kind of have that team.
Just
imagine making a video, hey? Making like a promo video, but that you made that into 2 things instead of 1. Like, what's your point?
We got the spins. Yeah, who would have thought? Who would have thought that our high-end possession forward was, our high-end possession defensive forward was going to be Connor Garland. There's a lot of fun pieces on this roster, but I think the difference between this team and that LA team is that LA team snuck in.
But they statistically they snuck in, but they were earning their way to get there.
Oh yeah, 100%. But this team is not going to sneak in. This team is not going to sneak up on anybody. It's not going to surprise anybody. If anything, the current version of the LA Kings is closer to that sneak in version that won the cup. And what was it, 2012?
2012, yeah.
Than the Canucks are, right? That LA team scares the daylights out of me. Like that is a big, good roster, and it wouldn't surprise me if that became the elite team for the next 3-4 years.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. It's like, oh, they're back.
Yeah, just sat on it, acquired a bunch of talents. They did it exactly the opposite way that Vancouver did it.
Interesting. A couple things.
Yeah,
we're gonna get into some fun stuff and then some deep stuff.
It's been fun.
You saw the All-Star jerseys, I'm sure.
I did. Yeah, I did.
What is your favorite bag of Doritos?
Do
you like the Cool Ranch? Do you like the Nacho?
There's Sonic Ranch.
Yeah.
I think the Sonic Ranch one is really good. The Nacho cheese one is still
Yeah.
That one's pretty solid.
And I forgot, so it's not like Pacific or anything. It's a draft. Remember, it's a player draft.
Yeah.
So it's not even necessarily
thankfully,
going to be
again.
Yeah, that should be good. Can you imagine Quinn Hughes is like the last guy picked? Like you're.
I mean, they gotta let the brothers play together, right?
I hope so. That would be great for television. So because we had this big jersey, and I can't believe.
Did you order one?
I was thinking about it. I'm seriously thinking about it.
I like how you're like, maybe.
Maybe we'll see. When we did jerseys, what was when we picked our top 5? What was that? What did we do for jerseys? Was it just retro jerseys?
Maybe I can't remember that. Is it it's your turn to do top 5?
I know, and I'm skirting around that a little bit. But when we were, because I thought we were picking like retro jerseys or something like that. So something I noticed in the reveal, which is what I'm trying to get to, something I noticed in the reveal was that if you look at these jerseys, did you see the name and number package on the back?
I haven't seen one kitted up, no.
Okay, so it's a nod to when they hosted the All-Star game last time. The name bar on the bottom and the big numbers on top, like my beret one I've got.
Right, you told me that. Yeah, I still haven't seen what one looks like, though.
So, yeah, I mean, it might take you a bit because it is tough to find for some reason. But yeah, so they do like a nod to when Toronto hosted last time. And they do like I said, name bar on the bottom, numbers on top. I think that's super, super cool. I love that they did a bit of a deep. I'm sure that came in a little bit to the design. It is a little bit bonkers what they did. Like it's very,
I'm trying to find a picture of what the other one looked like. What do you remember? What year that was?
2000.
Wow, you just know the year.
I mean, I literally wore the jersey last Sunday. So, by the way, pond hockey this weekend if you're interested.
Yeah, I am interested. I don't know if my leg will be ready to go yet, but see, it looks so much different than that.
Like, I mean, the jerseys themselves do. I'm just saying, like the nod for the font, like the number package on the back, right?
I'm looking at the number package on the back, and it is.
It's the same. Like it's the nod to that idea.
Right.
I'm not.
Okay.
I mean,
I see one. Like I think because the first one I looked at had the name above the number.
Oh, okay.
Was
so they've
done correctly.
So they've done well. No, because they did that. I think the goaltenders.
There's the navy blue one with the name above, and then there's a red one. With the name under.
So that's cool. So they're likely alternate for all 4 colors, which again they did for I think it was East and West that they flipped them, or World versus North America. North America had the name bars on the top. World had them on the bottom.
Yeah, look at this. I'm looking at this picture, and it's Marty Brodeur, Scott Gomez, Scott Stevens, and Patrick Iliash.
Yeah, all wearing I think the blue jerseys, right?
Yeah, that was back when Brodeur wore the old Heaton pads that were 2 different colors.
Oh yeah, and then so Dominic Hasek would have been in that game, and that the goalies got a different colored jersey. I think
was that the game that like Owen Nolan pointed and scored?
No. That was. It was not like 97 or
it was so old that Sundin had hair in this one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yikes. I think that was maybe 2001, 2002.
Okay.
Oh, Nolan.
That would make sense
anyway,
actually.
So kind of cool. I think that's neat. Obviously the Canucks have 6 guys going to the Cup or to the All-Star game, which is super, super cool. And the
6
coach.
Or is it 5? 5?
That was 6. What did I say? 3, 5?
You said 6. So it's Brock, Petey, Miller.
Oh, maybe they're counting the coach as the 6th guy.
Brock, Petey, Miller, Hughes,
Demko,
and Demko. So
yeah,
the 6th would be Talk.
They might be counting Talk as the 6th guy. So kind of neat. And then I was gonna try to transition that into the PD contract, but that seems to be a big one. So we'll just talk about outdoor season for a second. So it's finally frozen over by the pond by my house here, which is like a minute away down the street. And for the first time in like 3 years, brought the shovel out, got the drill, made sure it was thick enough, and did like a 30 by 30 square out there. Awesome.
I skated on that pond last year.
Did you really?
What do you mean that it wasn't? Or maybe it's the year before last.
The one
right by your house.
Which one? There's 2 though.
Like when you're pulling up to your house after the roundabout on the right-hand side.
You skated on that one?
Yeah, it was fine.
I'm skeptical.
It was either last year or the year before last.
Well, then it would have been the year before last. because
Okay.
last year I don't think it was cold enough. And I mean, people were skating on it. It couldn't have been last year because it was warm last year. From what I remember, it was really slushy last year. But we saw
slushy spots in the corners for sure.
Yeah, we've seen people skating too on there, and we're a very big safety family, so we don't go unless we can prove that. So it was a tough sell. I'm like, I'm going no matter what. We're trying it out. So went out there, spent a hot minute out there. Is awesome. Is like that's the best. We got to get Maddie to do one of those photo shoots again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We need to get. I got to brush up on my getting my ass kicked, ass over tea kettle body check from you. It was a good shot. I'm not gonna lie.
Did I?
We're gonna get Ted to hip check you. Okay, but we're gonna need you to hold. We're gonna need you to hold that stance.
I don't remember that.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Looks like you added a little bit of a dealy deal into the group chat thingy here, or the rundown. So game 8 star.
Yeah,
you can run with this one.
Yeah, game 8, Mr. Game 8, bar down, Cody Hodgson.
Mm-hmm.
Don't call me Hodgson.
Oh, jeez, that's so good too.
Is making a return to the NHL, to pro hockey. Well, I mean, that's his goal, right? So he retired 8 years ago due to injury. I mean, he kind of started his career with the bad back thing and all that fiasco in Vancouver, and then had a good season in final good season in Vancouver before being traded. The infamous Cassian for Hodgson trade.
Oh, and we all wanted that to work out too.
Which ultimately turned into Brandon Prust. So if you are reading all of the cards, that's Cody Hodgson for Brandon Prust. Goes off, signs that big contract in NHL, and then his body just betrayed him.
Which is too bad.
Yeah. So he's been out of hockey for 8 years. I have no idea what he's been doing, but he let it be known that he was ready to make a return to pro hockey. He's 32 years old.
I thought he was 34.
Is he 34? Maybe he's 34.
Wasn't he in Buffalo's development thing for their minor teams and stuff, or their youth leagues or something like that?
What do you mean, in the last little while?
Yeah, I thought that he was involved on the lower ranks or something, or maybe I'm thinking. Maybe that was Merkley. I think Merkley's doing that in Arizona. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
So Cody Hodgson's 33 as of February 18th today. So he was 32 yesterday. So yeah, making a return to pro hockey. So he just got signed by the Milwaukee Admirals. So that is the minor pro league team of the Nashville Predators, which he's got some experience with. So
good jerseys,
pretty cool. Yeah, they got great jerseys. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, people like Cody Hodgson. People don't like Cody Hodgson. Lots of times, people hate players because they left, whether they were traded on their own accord or not.
This is one of those where
it's in beef with the franchise. But yeah, it's just a cool story if he makes it all the way back. Period. Full stop.
It's tough to separate the guy and the situation, the whole story, right? As a player, I think we all loved Cody Hodgson. Right.
It was a crazy pick, right? At the time, because of what he turned into and where we got him.
Yeah. So, I mean, that part, I think we were all a big fan of. But yeah, the story and everything that came with it, and his dad and all that crap, obviously that soured things. But I mean, forever in our minds, Game 8, Saturday morning, we all remember that day.
We'll always have Game 8.
Man, we will always have Game 8. We really will. And I mean, honestly, it's one of those things he's in Canucks lore, right? If they ever do win the Stanley Cup one day, I mean, there's I don't know if you've read the 100 things to know about the Canucks before you die or kind of thing. Have you read that?
I haven't, but that sounds cool.
I'm just looking at it right now on my bookshelf here, which I never thought I'd be able to say I have a bookshelf as an adult.
Well, you got a bookshelf and a crooked poster of the world.
Exactly. It's actually Australia.
Oh, Australia. Cricket, yeah. Australia poster.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're always going to have Game 8. And if it ever happened where they did win, I mean, man, that's going to be a chapter. It'll be part of the Boston chapter, and it'll be the final thing. And then, months later, January, whatever, Game 8. And it was huge. It was Cody gave us that feeling.
It was huge. Yeah.
That's like for a regular season. It's so funny. Like if you think about it, like wow, that's lame. But for a regular season game, that was like the biggest regular season game in a long.
It was the revenge game too, right? Like,
and they treated it like one too.
Sure. I mean,
Marchand kissed the ring, and
is that not the game where like Brad Marchand like did like the ridiculous cheap shot hit on Sammy Salo too, like slew-footed him or something like that?
Oh,
I
maybe.
can't remember. Like it was.
And didn't he kiss the ring too? Didn't he?
Maybe. Oh, I'm sure he did that.
Yeah. So I mean, it was good. Like he was the perfect villain. Oh, and of course. So it's funny that we bring that up today. So we're doing eye therapy with my youngest before bedtime tonight. She's going through stuff, and so I did like instead of guess who, like I put a bunch of hockey cards down and like different colors of jerseys and whatever. And then she grabs the Brad Marchand one. She's like, Dad. Or she grabbed Crosby first. She's like, yeah, I love Sidney Crosby. She's like, what about this one? Boston. She's like, I love this guy. He's so good. She goes, we should get his jersey. And she doesn't know who Brad Marchand is. She doesn't know the story. I haven't told her that guy, that thing. And she's pushing it as if deep down in another life, she's like, I totally know who this is. And I want to see how far you're going to let me push this. Dad, she's like, we should totally get matching jerseys of this guy. And she's going off. And I'm just like, I'm about to strangle you. It was so funny. Like it was that moment. Internally, I was just roaring laughing because it was so funny.
Layla tried to pull that crap. She was like talking about how great the Flames were and stuff like that, like just to piss me off. And it's like, well, now you have to move out.
It's not fair. No, it's fair.
No, it's not fair. It's not fair at all.
It's fair. We still have the talk if they win the cup that I'm pulling them out of school to go to the parade.
Oh yeah.
The funny thing is like Kinsey is just like, that's going to happen, right? If they win, I'm like, yes. I'm like, it's also going to be June the 27th when it happens. You likely won't be in class anymore.
That's why I can never like at the Browns ever won the Super Bowl. Like I can't just like pull the kids out of school and go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So that's why the Canuck thing always is like a little bit closer.
It's a little bit more doable, that's for sure. Oh man. Do you want to get into the Petey contract?
Let's do it all.
What did I just do? Did my screen just go black for a second?
Well, you're just a little laggy.
Oh, okay. Must be the interweb. Okay. So everybody's been going on this whole Pettersson thing, and how come he hasn't signed a contract yet? And it seems like a little bit off, a little bit weird. Okay. Here's Uncle Ryan. He's going to tell you something that you guys need to listen to.
Uncle Ryan. There's Uncle Ryan.
It's time to get real with the situation.
Okay.
Well, wait. There we go. He's going to sign with the Canucks. Okay? He's going to. He said he wanted to play hockey this year. I would say he's been pretty loyal to the Canucks franchise since he's been here. I mean, geez, he had the t-shirt growing up. Did he not?
He did. Yeah.
He did have a t-shirt. Google it, as he'd say. He's having a pretty freaking good season for the Vancouver Canucks. Do you not think he would like to get a deal done? Do you not think both sides would like to get a deal done? Maybe they have one done and it's just all smoke and mirrors. Here's the thing. We've been through this situation before. We've tried to force the hand, and look what happened. Does everybody remember Wayne Gretzky? I do. They had a deal. But no. Ownership, no, we got to get it done. We got to get this deal done. No, he said he's going to do it. No, we got to get pen to paper. We need Wayner to sign. And guess what happened? He said, nope, full stop. I'm out of here. I'm Audi 5000. No more Canucks. No more Wayne Gretzky. This is so much easier than that. He already plays here.
Mm-hmm.
Just let him do his thing. Let him be awesome. Let him challenge for an Art Ross or an MVP or whatever, or a Selke or Lady Byng or whatever trophies you feel he could win this season. Heck, a Stanley Cup. But let the process happen. We can't afford to force him out because the fan base is so toxic that we're so impatient. We need this information that Elias Pettersson needs to sign with the Vancouver Canucks tomorrow on Friday. It's going to happen. So just shut up, enjoy the ride, and just wait, man. We've waited too long for everything else. We waited 10 years just to get to this point. Let's just chill out and allow things to happen.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, he was like pretty explicit at the start of the year, like, I'm not going to do this until after the season. This isn't a surprise. This isn't like, hey, he said he was going to sign and now we haven't heard from him, and I hate that he's delaying. And it's like, he said he was going to deal with it after the season. He left. I'm sure his agents have left, room open to have discussions and things like that Pettersson doesn't necessarily have to be around. They're his representatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he wants to sign here, he will be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that the number is whatever the hell he wants the number to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Petey pops off this year, I don't even know what he's on pace for. Like, holy shit, if he puts up 125 points, like, okay, well, we might have to pay him like $14 million. Okay.
Do you not see the guys they're adding around him?
None of that matters. Like the 11 million, 14 million, whatever. I think he's waiting possibly for a couple other guys to sign. Like, we want to know the cap's going up. Like, he needs to know all that system. Of course he wants to wait till the end of the year. Like, why wouldn't you want to wait till the end of the year? It's important, and he's banking on himself, and that's just like what good players do. They bank on themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bet on yourself. And
for the good players, it usually works out.
Yeah. It might be a long-term deal. It might be, who cares? Might be a short-term deal. Sure. Petey, you want to put 4 years in or something like that, and we will do this for 14 per year? Okay. Sure. Like, fine. You want to do the Austin Matthews thing? No worries, right? You want to sign, you want to re-up and do a long-term deal? Like, yeah, sure, we can do that too. Like, none of it matters. And if I'm being like really, truly, completely honest, if it doesn't work and he wants out somehow in some way for some reason, imagine the haul you could get for an Elias Pettersson. Like, it's restart your franchise stuff.
The suitors would be lining up to make that happen.
And it's
not the family, but like the world.
And it's not going to be, I mean, I can guarantee you, because now this is a blueprint, right? It's not going to be what happened in Calgary when they were like, hey, can I please take your aging stars and I'll re-up them to a huge deal? Yeah. Because we already have one of those, right?
Came over.
In JT Miller.
Yeah.
Who won? Yeah.
Good guys.
We already have one of those, right? So the writing is like very clearly out there. The blueprint is very clearly out there for what not to do if a player just wants out.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going to do what Calgary did and reset this thing with like a bunch of old guys. Not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be prospects, like another different high-end player. It's going to be like already developed players that are playing in the system, picks. Like, it's going to be a huge haul. That's the worst case scenario, right? Like, and I'm not thinking that's going to happen either. I think he's going to sign. He's going to get whatever the hell he wants, and he's going to get it for the amount of term that he wants it for. Like, some people are, not necessarily annoyed by that, but like, we're in this position for having to wait to sign a contract for a player of his age for what he's doing because we didn't want to lock him up early because nobody left any room for Pettersson. Do you remember? Surprise. I think if we go back to this episode, it's me having a fucking temper tantrum about why he only got signed to the deal that he got signed to. Like,
yeah, it was a middle finger, basically.
Look at Quinn Hughes and what he's doing now at the value and cost that he's doing it now. And imagine if we had Elias Pettersson on our roster for another 4 years, 5 years at $7 million a year. Yeah, oh my freaking God.
Yeah.
Bridge, I get the Bridge contract, but why would you do it for a guy who you really truly know in your heart is the ace?
And you know why? It's because the guys that did it, the people before him, before Alvin, and that was their mentality. Because realistically, if it was this group, they would have said, okay, well, it looks like we got to offload these guys because there's no way we can't have both of these. It's not like, well, Quinn Hughes is the better player, or Pettersson's like, well, we have both. Why can't we just up both to matching contracts? So
matching contracts. It's Daniel and Henry.
2 years from now, we look like we just robbed a bank because there's no way we should have what we have.
100%.
For that, you're right. And then we're looking like, oh no, like we've got X, Y, and Z to spend at the deadline, and like who do you, like? Should we go after Stamkos? Like, well, they said he's not trading him, but we've got assets, we can make it happen. Okay, should we go after Hedman? That sounds silly. Yeah, well, let's do it anyway. Like, those are the kind of fun things you could talk about. But no, we're in a position where he said, I'm going to make a call later. And he's going to make the call later. How about just let the man play hockey? He gave up basketball and Instagram for us, for the movement. He did. He gave up being haute couture for hockey, which is what we all cheer for.
Yeah.
So let's just chill out.
None of it matters.
Chill out.
It doesn't matter if he signs. Doesn't matter if he signs tomorrow, or it doesn't matter if he signs at the end of the season in the middle of summer.
It's not going to make a difference. It doesn't change anything.
He's going to get paid what he gets paid, which will be up to him, and he's going to play for as long as he wants to play for, which is also up to him.
Totally.
Canucks don't dictate anything there. They have no leverage, really. Like, if I'm being completely honest,
they don't. It's entirely in his court.
It's all Petey, and
he's having a season where he is betting on himself, and we're like, crap. Hope he doesn't double down too.
It's all Petey, and that's okay, because that's how they set it up. Not this current group, right? We want to give him that pass, but that's how they set it up. And I don't know.
So here's the wild thing.
He's probably got a little bit of FU in him too.
Well, which is great. Here's the wild thing. Did he just mean after the regular season? Because what if he gets better in the playoffs? So
man, what if he wins a Conn Smythe?
We could have got him for $13 million. Oh no,
could have had him for $7 million. So
like these are the conversations that it costs them. But again, just calm yourselves, okay? Wayne Gretzky, think about it. We could have had Wayne Gretzky instead of Mark Messier. Let's think about that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No,
now we have those guys. Now we have one of those elite defensemen. We have one of those elite center/wingers. Just chill out. It's gonna be okay.
You know what's crazy? Like, I was thinking about that too, right? The high-end defender thing. Like, Philip Hronek might be as good as any high-end defender that's ever played here. This team is
another one above him, so we're getting jaded on that.
This can you think of who Vancouver's best all-time defensemen are?
Well, like, I wasn't a big fan when we had some of the better ones, but wasn't Doug Lister pretty good? And we had who else is Jyrki Lume, and we've had
games played, you're looking at
Amy Salo, Edler, but those are like, they're good to us. Were they elite?
Like, no. Alex Edler at best, right? I mean, the guy's played 925 games for the franchise. He's got,
I wouldn't ever put him in elite though.
410 points.
I wouldn't put him in elite.
He's probably a top pairing defenseman. He's probably at his absolute, at the absolute apex of his powers.
Totally.
Probably a number 2 at best.
Right.
Right. I mean, he was real good for the Canucks during their playoff run, but he wasn't playing in the top spot. He was actually exceeded by Ehrhoff and Ham Hughes and
Salo.
That team was so good because of all of the number 2, 3 defensemen that they had. They didn't have a stud. They didn't have a Chara, which was part of the problem, right? You got Matthias Olin, probably a height of his powers, a 2. Right? And
unfortunately, the eye thing probably dictates a little bit of that too.
A high-end shutdown defender, probably more of like a second pairing guy, right? The eye thing played a factor in that 100%. Jyrki Lume, again, especially if you look at his points, it's one thing, but if you look at the era, he wasn't as good as the guys who were winning Norris's based on their point totals, right?
Did he ever go to an All-Star game?
I don't know if he did or not. He had some big seasons. Dennis Kearns, Doug Lidster had some big seasons up until just recently. In Quinn Hughes, he held, various records, but I don't know if he was like a true number 1, right? Kevin Bieksa, Sami Salo, Ed Jovanovski had the ability to be an absolute true number 1, but he never really was a number 1, right? He was just
Jovo. How did I forget Jovo? I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, he played 434 games, but he was never really truly like a elite number 1 defender, right? And I think go a little bit further down this list, I mean, Hamhuis is on there.
Hughes.
I mean, yeah, you're looking at guys like, Tanev and Butcher and Babbage and Sneps, right? I mean, there's not a lot of, it's not just lunacy for how good these guys are. And if I look at all of these guys, including guys like Dan Hamhuis, I don't know if any of them are better than this season that Filip Hronek is having right now.
That's scary.
I mean, that's a really scary thing to say, that we're looking at Hronek and he might be one of the best defenders that's played in Vancouver, certainly in the last 15 years. And he's not even the best on this team.
And he's getting overshadowed because the other guy is cool.
There's another guy there. Yeah. He's also pretty good. Like,
the fact that we can ghost on that is amazing.
Yeah, man. Like, he's already got 256 assists, which puts him.
I mean, those are all Detroit. Come on. They got to be Canuck numbers.
Hughes?
No. Oh, sorry. Quinn Hughes has 256.
He's 256 assists, which puts him like third in defensive assists already.
That's pretty good.
And he's only done it in 327 games. 310 for Edler. He played 925, and then Dennis Kearns had 290. Played 677 games.
The engine's not even warm yet.
The season's not even done.
The driveway. They haven't even left yet.
Yeah,
wow.
It's wild. It really is wild. You have that pinned tweet on your account. We all took the Sedins for granted.
I don't think I'm ever gonna get rid of that.
Right? I don't know if people really know how good Quinn Hughes is. Like, really, truly, it's a 2-horse race for the Norris right now. It's between him and some other guy.
And you know what's great? And I want to get to top 5 in a second. You know what's great though? Like, we're having that conversation. Like, it's not just Makar anymore. Like, it was Makar and Hughes, and then Makar just like
he skyrocketed.
Yeah. But like now and again, until Quinn Hughes probably outdoes himself a little bit, it's still gonna be Makar as that guy. But it's only because Cale Makar is a monster, and we would all be so fortunate to have. We don't need to have that version, but we also don't have like, the no-name version. We just have the competing brand. They've got Coke and we've got Pepsi.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, well, Coke's a lot better. Like, yeah, but Pepsi's pretty good. Yeah, but like Coke's done this and this and this. Like, yeah, but like we're splitting hairs, right? Like
But are they giving away a Harrier jet?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do they have Santa Claus? That's a tough call, Harrier jet.
You're right. It's PlayStation versus Nintendo and all that. That's what it is, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
They're a competing brand now, not an also ran.
They've got Halo. Well, we got Call of Duty. Now we both have Call of Duty. Oh, tough call.
Yeah,
tough call. So it's a good argument to have. I agree. It's nice to know that we get to have that argument.
Yeah, I mean, again, 5 All-Stars on this team. You could have made a case for Filip Hronek to be there. Really, like
it's just because he's not. But it's because he's not the sexy pick. He's not. It's like, oh, Filip Hronek. Like, yeah, well, it's fine. We're gonna let you stay home. We don't need to pump your tires. You just keep being awesome.
Like, how many points for Filip Hronek right now?
I don't know. I had a whole other tab open. I didn't have a Filip Hronek.
I'll look it up.
Well, now I've got it.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll look it up. We're looking at, I don't know the
36.
numbers from today's game. Scott,
3 and 33.
Points. Yeah, you could have made
33 assists.
33 assists plus 33. Like, he's cooled off a little bit. I can't even say that he's cooled off a little bit because he's had 6 points in his last 3 games. Like, that guy is also,
he's like
one of you. Like, you could make a case that he's an all-star.
All-star worthy.
Right? He is all-star worthy. That's a good way of putting it. And so on a team that has
funny?
On a team that has 5 all-stars, 6 potential. Why wouldn't you try to make a trade to try to hedge your bets a little bit and like give them some help to try to win this thing?
Go get yourself a Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers. Make that playoff run and then lose to Amari Cooper. Just do it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I want to.
And it may not work out, right? But I think you gotta try. I really believe that.
Exactly. Why wouldn't you? Like, if you found out, like, oh well, we could have had this. Well, then why didn't you do it? We've had every Canucks podcast, every radio show, whatever. We're all talking about the same thing. The Canucks are in a unique situation where they can contend for the Stanley Cup this year. Not 5 years ago, not next year. All the pieces are right there, right now. What do we do?
Is Vince Dunn an all-star? Is he on the all-star team? Do you have the all-star roster?
I don't.
Is Rasmus Dahlin on the all-star team?
I would hope so. Wasn't he injured, though, or am I thinking a different?
I don't think he's injured. The Canucks just played against Buffalo, and he was in it. Unless he was just injured recently.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, wasn't he injured, like, recently, like, so that he hasn't played in a while? But he did now. All-star rosters.
Philip Hronek sits 8 in league scoring for defenders.
That's pretty good.
1 point ahead of Philip Hronek, tied with Rasmus Dahlin. 1 point behind Roman Josi.
Oh, Roman Josi is pretty good, right? Roman Josi still good last time we checked?
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a pretty good defenseman.
He's all right. Yeah. He's still pretty good.
He can hang.
Yeah. Here we go. So we got. Yeah, you probably could get. I mean, there's definitely some Leafs in there.
So who throw me the defenders. What do you got there?
I'm trying to find the whole roster. Here we go. Makar.
Morgan Riley make it?
Morgan Riley. Yeah.
Yeah. So
here we go.
He's got more points than Riley.
Rasmus Dahlin's there.
Okay. He's got as many points as Dahlin does, and
Makar's there.
He's a differential, Ryan, of like plus 40, plus 43 on Dahlin.
Quinn Hughes. How come there's because it's a 3-on-3. So there's only like 4 defensemen that are there. Is that right?
No.
Oh no, sorry. There's more. Here we go. Pasternak, Swayman, Dahlin, Georgiev, Cale Makar, Boone Jr.
I think it proves my point, though, that there's guys that are there that aren't necessarily undeserving of being there, but equally deserving of being there is a guy like Philip Hronek.
Bob Thomas. Konechny, he's a forward. Yeah, man, that's wild. That's wild. Let's get into top five.
Top five.
That's so good.
Yeah, I like it.
So I've struggled with this for a week.
A week? Wow.
I have been racking my brain, and I still don't think I'm going to deliver properly.
It's supposed to be fun.
I know, but I wasn't having fun. And the only thing that kept coming in my brain, it's going to be a ranker this week. So I have 5.
Like I have to make tiers or what?
No, it's 5 things.
Okay.
And it just drives me nuts because I feel like I've let you down because we've had some good ones so far. No, and I was going to do it. Actually, I was going to do this last week. So technically, I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks. And I'm a little upset with myself, but here goes. Top 5 Gatorade flavors. You got to rank them though. You got to rank. Like I'm it's not even bottom of the barrel. It's just like.
Okay, I'm gonna have to Google the flavors again just to refresh my memory here. And does it have to be Gatorade, or does it get to be like a recovery drink?
Like, you're gonna include like Powerade in all sport?
I don't know. Does that count?
You know what?
It doesn't.
I think I've let everyone down. So,
Gatorade flavors. No, it's okay. This will work. This is fine. We can just do Gatorade flavors. There's enough here for me to know what's up.
Thankfully, there's some like newer flavors in the last 5 years or whatever. And I guess we could add one. We could add one wrinkle. Do we want to add the powder flavors as an option?
Whatever you want.
Or do they have to go pre-made?
It's your show.
Because the powder ones hit a little different, don't they?
I don't know. I've never had one.
Oh, you've never had the mix?
No.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, then we'll stick to pre-made. So because it's we're gonna are we gonna rank this? I thought we need to rank it because like everyone's got an opinion of what the best flavor is.
Yeah.
So let's go with your number 5. What's your number 5? I think
number 5. Okay, I think I have to just get a better image here because the one that I've got is not really showing up that well. Got to get it better.
Well, someone's even got this. The best Gatorade flavors ranked.
I
almost want to like click on that.
Number 5 for me is going to be like orange. Classic.
Okay.
The OG Gatorade flavor. Gatorade
like in the glass bottle orange? Because those hit different too.
Yeah, there's a different
like
glass
Gatorade's
bottle
gone
orange is
through.
bigger.
Don't you remember the glass bottles that they used to come in?
No, I don't remember. No, I'm thinking
older than me. You should
the green cooler with the white lid and the orange nozzle.
Okay.
Gatorade orange.
Okay.
That would be the first one. Yeah.
Okay, so that's your number 5.
Yeah.
Okay. I can dig that. I'm gonna go with. Oh boy. I'm gonna go with Glacier Cherry, the white one. I think that's the white one.
That's a good flavor. No, there's there's multiple white ones, I think.
So what's the newest white one? The white one. So I'm gonna just
let me just look up Gatorade flavors chronologically here, and I'll sort this out for you.
Circa 1970. I'm gonna take the white Gatorade, whatever flavor that is. It's not cream soda-y tasting, but it's refreshing, like Winter Blast or something. I don't know.
It's it might be Glacier Cherry. I think you might be right there.
Let's call it Glacier Cherry and call it a day. So number 5 for me is Glacier Cherry, the white one.
Okay.
And you got orange is your number 5. Who's your number 4?
Number 4 is going to be grape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just classic grape Gatorade.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a version of it called like Riptide or something like that. That was really good. Anyways, but yeah, that would be the cool blue or the regular blue Gatorade. Classic flavor. Like when I think of Gatorade, that's the color that I think of the most. Like, and I can taste it right now talking about it.
The grape one?
Yeah. No, sorry, not the grape one.
The blue.
The blue one. But the grape one is going to be number 4 on my list.
Okay. Well, that's where we're getting. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I was a little bit ahead there. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm getting confused, and it's easy for me to get confused. I'm gonna go with orange as my number 4. I mean, it kind of sucks because the flavors have changed over the years. I think based on the packaging. Like, I remember after we'd go to baseball camps. Remember the Kelowna Grizzlies? Do you ever remember that? They're in the fall now, and we would go to ball camp like in the summertime, and my buddy's dad would pick us up after practice, and he'd have 2 Gatorades for us, and it was in the glass bottles, and they were like the 400 mils or whatever. And that orange was never my favorite flavor, but that thing never tasted so good. It was just like, it was the perfect quencher. I'm pretty sure it says that on the bottle, but it was as perfect as you could be in that moment. It wasn't the best, but it hit pretty hard. So orange is going to be my number 4. In the
I had orange as 5, right?
You did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could get down with that. I think for number 3, I'm gonna have to go with classic blue Gatorade.
Okay.
That for me that's what I was talking about earlier. That's my most identifiable flavor. Okay. So it was like football practice. It was like I needed the blue Gatorade. If it wasn't the blue Gatorade, it had to be the blue Powerade. I still gravitate towards that. I don't know if it's like a berry chill or something like that. They've changed the names over the years.
Yeah,
but blue Gatorade. So we're gonna go orange, grape, blue are my bottom 3.
Okay. So mine is the Elsa color, the Glacier Chill. So it's kind of like it's a berry type, I guess. It would be kind of tastes like
It's like a
it's like
purpley
blue.
clear.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, it's a bluey clear one.
Okay.
It's like the light blue, kind of like our podcast background here. So it's that one. So it tastes kind of like the blue freezy kind of.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Kind of sweet. So we get that one a lot for soccer games and stuff. That tends to be like if we're on the road and we forgot to bring a water bottle, like, hey, what flavor do you want? It's always like the light blue one. So the Glacier Chill. So that'd be my number 3.
That's your number 3. Okay, my number 2 is gonna be Glacier Chill. That's yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah, like I don't know. I stumbled on that one by accident. Somebody hit one of the girls bought it for me, thinking that it was the
blue.
Because I said the blue Gatorade, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I got. And man, was it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. My number 2 is going to be fruit punch, the red. It's always there for you. It's always there for you. Like you can't miss. And if you spill it on a white shirt, you're screwed. Like that is the last time that shirt is white. Yeah. Doesn't matter what kind of detergents you got. Red Gatorade is like it's up there with like mustard.
Yeah.
Like that's the last time that shirt looked that way. Don't matter how hard you try. Baseball pants, whatever. You stay away from your nice white shirts because especially if you wear it for like if you happen to have worn a nicer one of your favorite, shirts to go out and play with the boys or whatever, and you get some and you're playing, just game of pickup baseball or hockey or whatever, and you just that one couple little drips goes on. It's over. Tastes delicious, ruins clothes.
Yeah. Nailed it.
So I'm hoping we have the same one. I really do. And I think we might.
We don't. For number 1?
Who sits at the top? Who sits on the throne of Gatorade and rules the world for you?
For me, it's Frost Glacier Cherry. It's the clear white one.
No kidding.
Yeah, and that was a complete accident as well. So what happened was I left my Gatorade out on the deck. A big multi-pack of it. And it was freezing cold out there, and I left it out there a little too long.
Yeah.
And it froze. And I said, no big deal. I'll take it to I can't remember what I was playing. It's like All Sport or something like that. And it sat there on the bench, and we played. And by the time I got to drink it, it had turned into a slushy. And it was the bee's knees, and I've been hooked on it ever since.
All Sport was also a great quenching brand. Do you remember that in middle school, high school, and middle school?
All Sport.
Remember All Sport?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It was trying to knock Gatorade off, and then Powerade came a few years later.
Yeah, Powerade Blue is so good too.
Yeah, Powerade's like, we're owned by Coke. We're gonna win this one for you.
Most overrated Gatorade flavor is Gatorade Red.
Gatorade Red?
Red.
After I just the massive sell job on it.
It's so overrated.
Why?
It's just this it's incredibly sweet. It feels like it's all up in your teeth. I don't know. It's just too much.
You don't like the stain factor.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that it ruins my body.
It's just too much. And I think you could say the same thing about Gatorade Orange.
Oh, for sure.
That it's overrated. But I think the reason I like Gatorade Orange is the McDonald's orange drink factor.
I was going to try to find a way to bring that up.
There we go. We did it.
It's pretty good. I mean, and it's funny because even if you weren't like an orange drink guy, everybody loves McDonald's
orange drink.
Yeah.
Is it still a thing? Can we still get a thing there?
Oh,
maybe not. Yeah, I don't know.
You could probably buy
for birthday parties. You can order a big cooler of orange drink, right?
It was the best.
Yeah,
it was the best. So we haven't mentioned this flavor yet, and this will always be the crown. This will be. It's just.
If you say something stupid, if you say something like lime cucumber, I'm gonna be like, we're just gonna be friends off.
Cucumber, is that
or
a flavor?
Yellow? Is he gonna pick yellow?
Did you just say cucumber? Is that a flavor?
Lime cucumber is a flavor.
I don't think I could do that. Number 1 with a bullet, lemon lime. It's like the OG flavor, is it not?
No, I think
was it orange?
I think orange is.
Orange? I thought that lime green would have been. It's just, I don't know. That was the one flavor that it for me, it just hit every single time. And it was I remember it being popular even as a kid, but even still now, like I look and yeah, there's some newer flavors and my taste buds have changed a little bit. But man, if there's like a 2 for $5 or something, you better believe lemon lime's coming home. So not lime cucumber. I'm not a freak, Ted.
Did you ever buy my parents always bought the crush like flat.
Yeah.
Whenever we had birthdays and stuff, right?
Sure. Yeah.
What was your go-to pop on the crush flat?
Oh man, that's like how long do we got here? That's a good question. I would probably say because Crush incorporated the Hires root beer or mug, I guess, depends. Either or would have been fine. I would have been a root beer guy.
Root beer guy?
Yeah. I mean, purple, like grape was always fun. But orange I left alone. Like when I was like 8, I liked orange. And then I realized that there were other options.
Orange is good if you're having a float. Grape Crush was my go-to.
Grape Crush, yeah. And occasionally, like cream soda was all right here and there. I do remember like they threw out a lime. Remember like Crush Lime? They had that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like every now and then I'm like, you know what? Let's change it up. But like I was a root beer guy when it came to the flat because that was the only consistent flavor. I'm like,
favorite root beer?
I mean, it's probably still A&W.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say so. And then I had one of those Hires, like the vodka ones or whatever they were. It kind of ruined the taste for me. Like you kind of like, and now that's what I remember. So I might just need to have a normal Hire. Barks was pretty good.
Barks was my favorite, yeah.
Yeah, A&W was always the classic. You just can't go wrong with A&W.
So I would like a mug of A&W at the restaurant.
The cold icy mug,
but not in the can. I always went for Barks.
Barks has bite.
That's what they say.
Johnny, what do you mean Barks has bite? I can see. Really? No, but it's got that bite to it though. Man, those were great.
Yeah,
those were great. This has been a lot of fun.
Those and the brisk iced tea commercials were that.
Oh, jeez, man! Like seriously, you got to stop bringing stuff up because like at some point we have to leave. Because those are great.
I can feel it coming. It's soon.
We could just have like we need almost.
We're close to expiration. I've closed the dock already, so I don't even know
another food episode. This has been a good one. So the Canucks, they're winning. They won again tonight. So did the Oilers, unfortunately. So they're on like 12 win streak now. I think for Edmonton, it's pretty good. Canucks have the Leafs on Saturday. That's going to be must-see TV. Unfortunately, it does coincide with divisional round NFL. So. Hopefully you have 2 screens because I don't know how any of you pick. I like my Canucks, but I'm likely going to be more so on the NFL side. So is what it is. We didn't win the 50-50 tonight, unfortunately. So I will.
That was a good plan though, hey?
Yeah, I was in the middle of charging my phone or backing up my phone onto my laptop because I haven't done it on this one and I'm getting a new phone tomorrow. And well, anybody that owns an old iPhone knows that at some point life sucks. And everything goes to crap on your phone and, you need a new one. So that was the boat I was in. So, yeah, good idea. I'm sure we'll do it again. I was actually looking at it. I'm like, it'd be kind of fun. I usually go in with my in-laws every now and then. They're like, yeah, here's $20. Buy some tickets. I'm like, all right, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, $25 gets you 50 tickets or $25 gets you 125 tickets.
Made sense. So, yeah, it was a good time. Home alone for me and the little one for the next 3 days, so it's going to be like fun bachelor mode out here. Cool. So
yeah,
we just all the fun things.
Get a little hanging.
Yeah, absolutely. We got nothing to do. Folks, thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching the PP1 podcast. We enjoy doing this. It's a lot of fun. It's also a lot of fun when the team's winning. I feel like we can get excited more. Although when they were losing and they had everything crapping around them, that also was fun because we had new plans on how they could get better. But yeah, check us out. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and, and we're going to be coming out with a cool design soon. I just don't know when we're going to drop it. But we've got a shirt coming out too. We just got to decide what's it going to be. But you're going to love it. You're all going to want it. People on Podcast. The Hockey Podcast Network, as I said, a menagerie of Hockey Podcast. You want to check it out. Also, I forgot to mention off the top, DraftKings promo code THPN, but you already knew that because I already read the ad mid-show. So on behalf of my good friend, Petey Wong, assistant to the regional manager, I'm Ryan Big Money. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go Canucks, go. Peace out.